Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 6, Episode 3. Our last episode was our first episode in our brand new location, and it was not going well. Myself and TJ Money, whose house it was, always kind of had this contentious relationship back then, and just butted heads a lot about a lot of stupid stuff. And it just seemed like the shows weren't being taken seriously. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I was taking it too serious for running a backyard wrestling show in 2003 on public access TV. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that the show was very important to me. And maybe I took it too seriously, but I felt that that was my job. Now, in the process of turning Tim's backyard into our new arena, we spent a couple days there between putting in the posts, getting the ropes tightened, building the entranceway, which was now almost like a long corridor, putting the signs up, just trying to make it feel like, make a little corner of this giant backyard of his father's into like our home. And it was very difficult to do because they had such a wide open backyard and it was covered in so much woodland area. Whereas Rico's backyard was smaller and, it looked like it was dedicated just for our purposes. But anyway, we had some arguments over how to do things, and not necessarily between me and TJ Money, but I know TJ and a couple people had some arguments, and because it was his backyard, ultimately we did it his way. And one of the things he wanted to do, because he wanted to wrap it up earlier, was when we put the poles in, we just dumped the concrete in without mixing it first to save time. And I know a lot of people, I don't know anything about construction, but I know a lot of people were complaining about that. And sure enough, it caused the poles to move a lot. And all our ropes that were tight were now already sagging to the point where it just looked terrible. And, all those shortcuts and arguments and stuff like that, it was just a sign of things to come. The show starts on Hellspawn. Now, I had just gotten a new editing computer, so I was using all the tricks I could. The voice changing, the black and white, the grainy effect, just everything I could. Just heavy overuse of effects. And it was to make him look scarier and like our new monster.
Now you want to talk to me? Now you want to be my friend?
Next up was a promo for Truth, Hate, and Crime, the faction that was kind of developed on our last show between Criminal Cage, the owner TJ Money, and Homeboy Joe Slice. And the reason they were called Truth, Hate, and Crime was because they wanted the initials THC. Yep, it was a weed joke. And there already appears to be issues within that faction, and they're only a week old at this point. Just in Time defends the hardcore title against Mumbles. Enigma is the referee, so Enigma actually made his return here to B4W. If you've been following this series from the very beginning, he wrestled with us for a number of years, a couple years prior. Mumbles won the hardcore title, but that was not the plan. Just in Time was supposed to win, and even though I didn't care about the hardcore title that much, you could tell that the show was off the rails already.
He's petting him with the oh! He won?
He won!
That's it! Oh! That plumber's throw!
And once again, I was trying not to make a mountain out of a molehill about everything, but I was getting more and more frustrated with each and every show, with everyone's lack of care. Next up was a vignette between myself and Joe D of Misery. My character thought I saw Tommy Thunder, and I was mad at Tommy Thunder for leaving at the point. It was actually Enigma who was doing his masked character, Brian Champion. So when I jumped Tommy Thunder, we found out it was actually this guy, Brian Champion. Now, in reality, Tommy Thunder was off to the Navy, but for whatever reason, he didn't end up going into the Navy. I believe he had a knee injury or something that prevented him from being able to get deployed. So they actually rejected him. So he was actually at this show and just doing commentary, and we were going to build up to his return. So my question would be for myself back in 2003, if Tommy Thunder was there and we didn't have a world champion and we were going to do this world title decision match, I don't know why we didn't just bring Tommy Thunder out on the show and have him lose the belt or continue to be the champion? I don't know. I don't know what the reason was all these years later. There's a vignette where TJ Money is very focused on his next match, and TLD comes over and begs to be the commissioner once again, and TJ Money just says, yeah, okay, go ahead, without actually knowing what he said. But anyway, our world title decision match was up next, and it's the first ever Brookwood Bash match. And basically the match starts off with 6 people, and each elimination, the match stipulation changes, ultimately ends up with 1 versus 1, and it is a last man standing match. It's Criminal Cage versus Homeboy Joe Slice versus TJ Money versus Joe D of Misery versus myself as Denver Street versus TLD. And TLD, who's now the commissioner, appoints himself or adds himself into the match in place of Christian Greed, who we don't know where he is right now.
Jody almost had TJ Money eliminated.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez, with the save there. These guys will work as a team.
The match falls apart a lot, and it was confusing. The end saw a last man standing match between TJ Money and Joe D of Misery, where Homeboy Joe Slice and Criminal Cage came out, and they helped TJ Money get the win and become the new world champion. It was right after this match where we were cleaning up and getting ready to leave, and TJ Money was just kind of egging me on, just trying to be funny, but in doing so, doing it in that way where he's taking like actual jabs, knowing that he's annoying me, the way you do when you're, 17, 18 years old. And I'm positive I did the same to him. I'm positive of it. But I remember it specifically because of my response to it. He was saying things like, well, now it's my house. Now I'm the champion. Now the whole show revolves around me. Now I can just do whatever I want. And he was saying it like he was joking, but the truth is he was already doing that stuff. So I went home and I came up with a plan, and it wasn't pretty. And we'll get into all of that next week, right here on Backyard Wrestling Cinema.
Oh, right in the... He broke the sun.
Wonderful.
More strength.
Oh!
And I think he broke that stick.
Joe D. Oh my God, again!